Whether you're Division 5, 4, 3, 2, or even Division 1, everyone needs advice on how to reach the next level. And today, I'm going to give you the brutally honest advice that no one else will to help you rank up the divisions as fast as possible. And if you stick around to your specific division, I promise you'll come away with something you can actually use today. But before we do, I've been working with a bunch of people to build something that has never been done before. And if you aren't willing to invest a small amount of money into guaranteed improvement, then just skip this section, because what I'm about to give you is for serious competitive players only. It's called Snapin, and it's the only fully personalized AI coaching system for competitive Fortnite players. It watches your clips, finds your weaknesses, and keeps track of all your top weaknesses, so you stop making the same mistakes costing you bad tournament placements. It also builds you personalized training routines that are always updated to be focused around your weaknesses and time limit. You also get your own personal AI coach that you can ask anything at any time, and Snapin is trained on over 200 plus pro strategies, over 1,000 pro scrims, and a huge competitive data set. There's also a 30-day improvement guarantee, so there's literally no risk. And there's still some codes left over from my last video where you can get a 10% off discount if you use code Blexiti at checkout. But there's only a few codes left, and the codes are going to run out extremely fast, so make sure to get Snapin quickly if you're serious about improving. So if you want to improve faster, then click the link in the description to get Snapin and use code Blexiti before all the codes have been used. Stop wasting time, practice the things you actually need to practice, and stop making the same mistakes every tournament with snapin.gg. Let's start at Division 5, and here's the thing about this division that makes it completely different from every other one. You get 0 points for kills, none. It's purely placement points, and once you understand that, the strategy practically writes itself. Your only goal in Division 5 is to pretty much survive as long as possible. You don't need to be getting into fights, you don't need to be fighting mid-game, you essentially just need to be alive at the end. So here's the framework that works almost every time. Land at a spot you genuinely know well, somewhere you can loot fast, somewhere you know the rotations, somewhere you feel comfortable. And then as soon as you've looted up, you rotate toward the middle of the map immediately, not when the zone forces you, as early as possible. And then once you're in a safe position, you're essentially going AFK until the end game. Sit in a bush, box up somewhere in a few boxes, just stay alive and stay aware of the people around you so you don't randomly get pushed and forced into a fight. If you do this consistently, you'll naturally start getting top 10s, top 5s, and eventually top 3s, and that's more than enough to qualify to Division 4. As long as you have decent mechanics, comms, and follow what I just said, you'll probably get out of Division 4 in just a few tournaments, or maybe even your next tournament. Now, if you're doing all of that and you're still stuck, there are really only two reasons that happens. The first is that you're making it to the end game, but you still can't get top 5s or top 3s when you get there. If that's the case, the fastest fix is scrims. Playing a lot of endgame scrims with your duo, so you start understanding how to navigate the final zones together. Where to position, where to rotate, how to play zone properly, and stuff like that. The second reason is that you keep getting into fights before endgame and either losing them or spending so long in them that by the time you're done, you've got no mats, low health, and no chance of getting a good placement. And if that's you, the fix is 2v2 realistics with your duo. Real practice against real people, ideally people better than you, because the mistakes you're making in those fights in tournaments will keep showing up until you've actually been punished for them enough times in a practice setting to stop making them in the first place. Division 4 is where most people get the wrong idea. They assume it's all about the end game, and that if they just got better at that, they would get out of Division 4. And while scrims are still important, and you should absolutely still be doing them, that's not actually the main reason people stay stuck here. Think about how Division 4 actually works. You get points for kills now, and just 2 or 3 high kill games combined with a couple of top 10s can be enough to get you out. That changes everything about how you should actually be thinking about it. So here's what actually happens to most Division 4 players. They get into a mid-game fight that either goes badly and they die early, or it drags out for half the game and they end up having burned through all their mats, they're low on health, and they end up in the end game with barely anything to play with. That's the real problem, and the reason it keeps happening is their fighting isn't good enough yet. So the priority in Division 4 for most people is improving your fighting, specifically your 2v2 fighting with your duo, and this is non-negotiable. You have to be playing against good players. Playing 2v2s against people worse than you will literally make you worse. You'll get comfortable, you'll stop reacting to pressure properly, and you'll pick up bad habits that punish you the moment you face anyone decent in a tournament. On top of that, keep your mechanics and aim training to around 45 minutes to an hour max. Not because it doesn't matter, but because at this stage, 2 hours in creative working on your mechanics is not what's going to get you out of Division 4. Your fighting IQ, playing as a team, and some more endgame experience is much more worth your time if you actually want to get out of Division 4. And then there's one more thing that makes a massive difference here, but I'll get into that in a second, because the thing that actually separates the players who get stuck in Division 3 and 4 for months from the ones who push through fast is whether or not they're fixing the right weaknesses at the right time. Division 3 is where things start getting fairly serious, and it's also where the generic advice stops working. Play more scrims is still true. In fact, scrims become even more important here because the endgame in Division 3 is a completely different level compared to the last divisions. The games are more stacked and the players are smarter, so you and your duo need to be on the same page about absolutely everything. When to push, when to hold, when to rotate early, when to play zone versus select for kills, because that kind of chemistry doesn't come from playing ranks or grinding mechanics maps. It comes from hours and hours of scrim reps together. But the thing that actually defines whether you rank up from Division 3 quickly or spend 3 months grinding the same division is whether you're fixing your specific mistakes. The players who fly through Division 3 are the ones who review their bad games and figure out exactly what went wrong. Was it a bad rotation, a fight they should have avoided, a position they gave up too easily, just not being able to find a refresh? Whatever it was, you then actively work on that thing. If you're losing scrims consistently because you're getting caught rotating late, that needs to become the focus of your next few sessions. Just as an example, because the pattern is always the same. You probably have a specific weakness that's costing you games, so if you identify it and target it, you'll probably improve and find it way easier to reach the next division. If you just keep grinding without an actual direction and with no intention, you'll just hit a skill cap. Combine that intentional self-analysis with high volume scrims and real 2v2 fighting practice, and Division 3 is very passable. Division 2 is where you've proven you can compete. Your mechanics are probably more than good enough by now, and your endgame understanding is probably pretty good as well. But now the margin between you and the people above you is much smaller, which means the quality of your practice matters more than the quantity. The biggest thing you can do at Division 2 is play no zonal scrims. This is the closest and most realistic practice you'll get to actual tournament games, and getting as many of these reps in as possible is the fastest way to improve decision making where it actually matters. So play as many of these scrims as possible with your duo, because this is most likely what's going to help you improve faster than anything else. Now, tokens is a way that a lot of the top pros got so good at fighting. It essentially means playing against some of the very best players repeatedly with some tokens on the line. If you know, you know. This is the best creative fighting practice you can get, but I can't recommend it because it's against Epic's terms of service, but it's worth knowing it exists because if you look at how the top level players developed their fighting ability, that's a big part of the answer. Something else you can do is watch the top pros. Not just casually, actually look at how they play. Look at how they play and then try to replicate it in your own games. That process combined with scrims is what gets you out of Division 2. Well, obviously you still need to work on your mechanics a bit, follow an intentional routine and work on your weaknesses, but what I just talked about is the main difference in your practice that will get you out of Division 2 compared to all the other divisions. Once you're in Division 1, you've basically proven you belong at a high level. Your mechanics are there, your fighting is probably there, but what separates you from the players actually going pro now is one thing: the quality and volume of your practice. You need to be in every scrim session available with the best players and pros in your region. Then build the rest of your routine around those scrims. When there aren't any scrims running, that's when you do your fighting practice, your mechanics, VOD reviewing, working on your specific weaknesses, or something like that. The scrims are the anchor of your entire schedule, and everything else fills the gaps around them. Stay consistent, keep reviewing your mistakes, keep learning from the best pros, and the results will come. Now, if you want to get out of your division as fast as possible and just improve faster than you ever have before, make sure you get Snapin by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. There's literally a 30-day improvement guarantee, so there's no risk. But before you go, if this video helps, leave a like and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds and it makes a huge difference. If you want to learn more about how you can improve, then watch this video here. Thank you so much for watching.